Commissioner Williams.
Yeah.
Sorry, Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
He indicated yes.
Commissioner Sykes.
Before I vote, just make sure I'm clear on this. It's just we're voting dropping from 4% to 2%.
You're voting in favor. A yes vote would indicate you're voting in favor of a 2% instead of a 4% pay raise for employees.
No. No.
Commissioner Barker.
No.
Commissioner Macklin.
No.
Commissioner James Longmire.
No.
Commissioner Shelton.
No.
Commissioner Stubbs.
No.
Commissioner Cameron.
No.
Commissioner Summers.
No.
Commissioner Wayne Morris.
No.
Commissioner Collins.
No.
Commissioner Smith.
No.
Commissioner Leatherman.
Yes.
Commissioner Stone.
No.
Commissioner Steele.
Wait a minute.
You feel which way you feel the vote?
No, to begin with 2%, right?
No.
No, yes.
A yes is to lower it from 4% to 2%. Was your motion?
Right.
Yeah.
A yes is to lower it to 2%, right?
Lower it to 2%.
Voted on the 4%, yeah.
You're right. If you vote yes, it's 42.
Voted on the 4%.
That's right, I'm voting to go to 2%.
Right.
But we didn't vote on the 4%.
Yeah, but you voted to give them a 4%.
No, I did not. We didn't vote on the 4%.
I mean, you got, I vote yes, for 42.
You hadn't voted on the 4%.
Commissioner Yergin.
Yeah.
You were saying.
Commissioner Childress. Commissioner Moss.
No.
So 14 no. 14 no.
Yeah, 14.
Motion failed.
Yeah.
Now we're back to the current budget with 4% raise.
And y'all did hear what Lenita said from back there, didn't you? This budget was based on the 92.5 that we were talking about. So when we talk about the new certified, and that's what we're gonna talk about, because that 92 is not the right one. That's what we had to work for. I just wanted them to know.
Yeah. Now, we still have a motion. We have a motion and a second on the budget as presented by Chairman Shelton. Is there any further discussion?
I don't think, I wasn't voting with the 40. I'm just going for what I think we supported. And the statement that I would make is that I know I represent a rural area, and I'm a rural person myself. I'm in Arkansas. My tax rate has gone up tremendously.
Right.
Property wouldn't believe how much it was. I told tax. And
Due to the reassessment.
yes, there is, and I just can't see increasing taxes on, not myself, but the people that I represent, that are, some of them are people who farm their land, they're retired people, they're fixed income. And I can't vote for to raise taxes on, after they've already had a tremendous tax increase, and probably gonna get another one when they get the school district. Gets their reassessment.
We don't have any control over the school district, as you know.
I agree.
But as I pointed out, this budget carries no tax increase.
It does to us.
No, it doesn't.
Not yet.
No, not yet. This is, like I said, this was based on
It
the
does,
certified
It's been reassessed and it's been raised like he's talking about.
92 cents. 92 cents is supposed to generate, and Gary, I noticed, I thought I saw him come in, it's supposed to generate the same amount of money. Now, what it did, it shifted, as I was pointed out the last
That's
time.
right.
It shifted from homeowners primarily
Amen.
to farming community, because farmland is selling for more. Now, I mean, that's it. But it's not gonna change, this tax rate will not change the assessment rate.
It,
So,
but
what I'm looking at, besides that, is if we pass the 92 cents and stay
Yes, we
with all
can.
tax
That's
rate.
not, that's not the certified tax rate.
Well.
But 93.34.
All right, we
is-
pass the
is-
93.34
Right.
instead of that tax rate and pass this budget just like it is, we're $400,000 deficit, right?
Projected.
Somewhere that's where we're projected,
Right.
and I'll give you those
All right.
figures here in a
If
minute.
we say $25,000 roughly, or $10,000 on the road, on our liability insurance, and save $175,000 here, we can get our deficit down to $200,000. Then if we bring in more,
Maybe.
if we bring in more revenues than we anticipated, which we normally do by 2 or 3%, we can come in with a flat, even budget.
Yeah, I don't buy that. But anyway, and here's the reason why. And I haven't asked lately, but you remember in all this process, we promised an ambulance, another ambulance,
Right.
then that target, there's 150 that you're fixing to bring in. I just showed you about $60,000 in last minute increases in your, so that, like I said, both of these are moving targets.
Yeah, I
So-
understand, but I'm trying to get the target closer together.
Well, we don't know how far, we really don't know how far that target
We
is.
know we're gonna be further apart by
Well,
passing, by not passing.
Not necessarily. Not
You need to spend
necessarily.
$200,000 more dollars to get them closer.
Well, the reason I'm saying that is two things. One is we haven't set a tax rate yet. One.
I know
And
it,
what-
but you, but
what it-
then
what it
closer, you gotta
generates.
raise that tax rate.
What it generates and where our delinquency is. There's those figures that we don't know. We figure conservatively a 6% delinquency. In other words, if the tax rate generates, and I can look over here and tell you, if the tax rate generates 1 cent of every tax dollar, that generates 76,299.76. We don't budget that much. We only budget 71,726.27.
That's what I was
Okay.
saying. If we come in with more revenue than anticipated, and that's that percentage that you're talking
Yeah.
about, we could, instead of having a $400,000 a difference there, we could bring that in. I mean, we could come close to it. We don't spend anything.
We've been real lucky in that our fund balances have trended up every year for the last 3 years.
I agree. I know that.
In my opinion, I mean, this is my opinion, I don't have a vote, I mean, I'll work within the confines of whatever budget given to me, but I'm in favor of the 94 cents. We'll get into that later and keep trucking along and see how it shakes out next year. I mean, that would be my opinion.
Question on, let's call for a question on the budget.
Hey, I want to ask,
Mr. Stolzer.
well, we discussed this thing in some of our workshops all along. Some of us was in favor of giving cross-board rates. Give every man the same, starting at the lower end, up to the top, giving the same amount of money. Janet and opposed, that way, you don't give a percent, next year that base salary won't be up 4%, that you've got to deal with again next year. You just keep on, just like putting a CD in the bank and compound, never touch it. You can do it any way you want to, that's the way it's gonna be. And to me, that's the most sensible thing you can do if you're gonna give a raise. That's all I'm gonna say.
Now, I think the employees would be more than happy to get anything, but it's hard for them as a family to, budget for their families going forward with a
I
bonus.
understand that, and I realize that, but on the other hand, we don't know how our revenue's gonna come in till next year. I mean,
We never know that for sure, for 100% sure.
you know, we could go back into some kind of recession and be short.
Well, that's just one more thing. If you give that least paid employee that we have in Gibson County, you give him 4%, see what he comes up with. Give the man that's drawing twice as much he is, give him 4%, see what he gets. how's that man on blowing a totem pole gonna feed his family with that 4% on that part?
Well, it'll be each department head to decide what to, correct me if I'm wrong,
I'm
Mr.
just
Shelton.
saying, I'm just saying what's fair and that's.
Ms. Van Dyke,
I just wanted to, everyone might know that the revenue is figured very conservatively in the budget. And on the expenditure side, we basically show that every department head is gonna spend every penny that they were budgeted in expenses, and that's not gonna happen.
and that's been our practice, and it's worked out good for us, and I applaud the budget committee for that practice.
But this was what was worked out in all those meetings, yeah.
You're saying the budget, what the road is now, without the budget, is with this tax rate of what?
We're voting on the expenditure side of the budget as presented.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we'll get into discussion about our tax rate. Question's been called for. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Williams,
No.
Commissioner Sykes,
No.
Commissioner Barker,
No.
Commissioner Macklin,
I got a question, is this the actual budget we're voting on? I've got a disclaimer I have to read first. Because I'm an employee of the Gibson County Sheriff's Department, I have a conflict of interest in the proposal about to be voted. However, I declare that my argument and my vote answers only to my conscience and obligation to my constituents and the citizens this body represents as TCA 12-4-101. And I've talked with people that I've worked with, and they agree with me on this, and so I'm voting yes.
Commissioner James Longmire,
No.
Commissioner Shelton,
Yes.
Commissioner Stubbs,
No.
Commissioner Kinley,
Yes.
Commissioner Summers,
Yes.
Commissioner Wayne Morris,
Yes.
Commissioner Collins,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Lieberman,
No.
Commissioner Stone,
No.
Commissioner Steele,
No.
Commissioner Yergin, Commissioner Childers,
First, I had a disclaimer. Because I'm an employee of the Gibson County Sheriff's Department, I have a conflict of interest in the proposal about to be voted. However, I declare that my argument and my vote answer only to my conscience and my obligation to my constituents and the citizens this body represents, PCA 12-4-101. Yes.
Commissioner Morris.
Yes.
I'm showing a tie 9-9. Do I get to vote?
You doing it that?
Yeah.
That make you different.
Motion fails to reach the majority.
You can. Okay, we'll go ahead and let you look at the nonprofits. We need to look at that because that has to be approved twice. And you'll find those in your he does, but
It doesn't make a difference.
There's not nothing.
That's that 13. It doesn't make a difference.
this page right here, in your original budget, is your nonprofits.
Hey,
Let's go let the vote 4 times.
yeah, the vote was 9-9, and it doesn't make a difference because we have to have 13. So some people were wondering why couldn't the mayor vote to break a tie with it? I mean,
doesn't do anything. Everybody find that? Or your nonprofits? Nonprofits, it's on about 1, 2, 3, 4. On about page 5. That's all. That's the list of all your nonprofits. That you can. And those are the same as last year. It's on page about 4 in the front.
You have the list of nonprofits.
Yeah. Everybody find the list of nonprofits?
It's the same as last year. This is second reading.
It's first.
First reading for nonprofit.
Yeah, first reading.
First reading for nonprofit. Do I hear a motion on a nonprofit allocation? There, a motion approved. Motion made by Commissioner Mackin. There is second. Second made by Commissioner Cotton. Any discussion on nonprofits? If not, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Wiggins,
Yes.
Commissioner Sykes,
Yes.
Commissioner Barker,
Yes.
Commissioner Macklin,
Yes.
Commissioner Longmire, Commissioner Shelton,
Yes.
Commissioner Stark,
No.
Commissioner Cameron,
No.
Commissioner Summers,
Yes.
Commissioner Wayne Morris, Commissioner Collins,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Lieberman,
No.
Commissioner Stone,
No.
Commissioner Steele,
No.
Commissioner Yergin,
Yes.
Commissioner Childers,
Yes.
Commissioner Moss.
No.
Showing 12 yes and 6 no, motion fails.
And we'll move to the final part. Part of that you had so much interest and questions about is setting tax rates. It's kind of a moot discussion, but I will entertain that for you. As I indicated earlier, 1 cent generates, like I say, 76,291.76. What we actually allow for when we budget is a 94% or 6% delinquency, however you choose to term that, which is $71,721.77 per cent, for each cent. Yeah.
I make a motion.
Sure.
I don't think we're gonna pass nothing today. Can we go into recess again and come back when we got more information?
Whatever. But I want you to,
We ain't doing nothing today.
let me give you some of these figures so to give you something to think about. Because that's my end question, I've got an end question for all of you. At the 93.3, the certified tax rate, which generates the same revenues that we were talking about, that 94 cents generated prior to reappraisal. It would generate, and you can do that math on the 71,729, but it generates a total of $5,618,683. That's what it would, the new certified tax rate. So that's what, 93.34. And that's, yeah. Between, yeah. At a 94-cent rate, which is 0.66. I didn't do it honestly. Which is 0.96 cents tax increase, if you will, because it leaves it at 94 cents as opposed to 93.34. That would generate $5,666,020, or a difference $69.35. And that's what we were trying to do, give you all an option. That's what I'm reading. I want to go ahead with this and give you all the options. At a rate of 95.5, which was basically the same differential that we had between 92.5 and 94. But actually, it's a little more. It's 2.16. It would generate $5,773,602, or $176,939 difference over the bottom. So there's kind of the rates you were playing with. The certified rate at 9,334, a 94-cent rate, and then the 95. So like I say, you see what the difference is.
93.34, 94, about what, $50,000?
22.
$22,000. Oh, we can't guess, I mean.
That was my point when we were talking earlier.
What the 93.34, certified rate, but we might be.
That was my point. You're running close. You're running closer. And that's the reason that I was proposing that we do a 95.5, which would give you an extra 939. But to say that again, this budget that we had was based on the 92.5 certified rate, which that throws some figures a little differently, but still you're about 400,000 shortfall. So there, now you have all the information where we're at, except now you've got two parts missing. And we need your direction of what you're gonna do next. Of course, Ms. Mackin has said reset, and that's fine. But what we need to do, what are you gonna do different? You did not approve the budget, nor did you approve the charter. So what are you gonna do there? Those.
Of the no votes, I mean, can we have a discussion about what the sticking points are? I mean, is, you know,
I have no problem with that.
of the no voters, I mean, is your sticking point the raise altogether? Is it, the percentage of the raise? Is it, I mean, it,
Well, everybody voted for the raise.
yeah, I mean,
I can't do the problem. I didn't vote for the raise. I didn't either. All but.
Well, yeah, technically you did.
All but about 4 weeks did.
You voted for a 2.
Well.
Well, now that's a raise, Keith. That's a raise. You said you did.
Yeah,
Yes, you did.
That's right. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying to get the money we've got coming in, the state, match what we're gonna be spending.
Yeah. Well, then you need at minimum the 93.34 then. 'Cause
That's what the old 90, our
All
old,
92.
our old 94 goes back to 93.3.
Yeah. And I think, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I would recommend that Commissioner Mackin rescind his motion to table the budget, and let's get a up or down vote on the rate anyway. I mean, just get
I have no problem.
just get the temperature, get a feel for the room, see what the will of the body is. Commissioner Mackin, would you entertain just for the
Either
vote?
they'll vote against it anyway, so it don't matter.
Thank you, Commissioner Mackin.
Butch, don't you think the 93.34, don't you think that would fund the 2% pay increase for employees? And everything just like that. Now, we can't come up here and spend $100,000 next month, this, 200 next month, we'll have to deal with it.
Well, like I say, we can, at 93.34, we can fund this budget like it says, 4%. All that can be done.
But we can,
But you don't know what your end figure is. However, what I'm trying to do is get a better end figure in anything we do. I'm not
I
trying,
am too.
I'm not trying to-
get bigger, but you're trying to get it by raising the tax, and I'm trying to save some money.
that being said, understand, I've never seen, maybe you have, I haven't, I've only been here 16 years. I've never seen a budget that we passed even close to resemble the one at the end of the year.
No, it don't.
It really doesn't.
But
That's what I'm saying. All these are, and that's what I'm saying.
we don't know what the ambulances may crash, and we may be $500,000 short.
But that's the
Or
reason.
they may be really good, and we may have a $500,000 surplus. It could go either way.
I don't think it goes that far. But,
No, but-
yeah, for sake of argument, that's possible, I guess. But what I'm saying is, I want to build a little in here, at least not go backwards.
Well,
You know, that's what I'm saying. Because we did this once. You remember when we did that once? You remember what the circumstances happened right shortly thereafter? You put no money in debt service at all. You remember that? We had to have a resolution prepared to do some things that we didn't want to do. And I just don't want to get there.
Yeah, but it come out right, did
Well, I don't know. Well, it had a 23-cent tax increase. You remember that about 4 years ago? Is that all right?
23-cent tax increase.
Yeah, do you not remember that?
Not that much.
I do. Very well. Yes, sir. We did. We did. And that's what I don't want to happen again. I don't want to go 7, 8 years for whatever it is, just getting by and borrowing from Peter to pay Paul, and then all of a sudden, Paul's pockets are empty too. And that's what I say, at 94 cents, you're talking about 0.66, no, a little more than half a cent. That gives you a little, like I said, it gives you about $22,000.
Mr. Smith,
Can you set the tax rate without passing the budget?
No.
So you can't vote on the tax rate, no?
No, that's the reason I want you to figure out what we're gonna do, because you need to know what tax rate that you want to tie to that, out of that budget. Because part of that, and correct me somebody if I'm wrong, part of that $300,000
But I
or
really think
something.
we need to have this vote here. We have a full body like at the July meeting.
Do what?
I think we need to have this vote when we have a full body.
We can get along here.
They'll be here for the July meeting. They won't come tonight meeting, but they'll come later.
I'm disappointed. I mean, I'll be disappointed if we don't pass the budget tonight, but we'll be fine without it. I mean, Commissioner, maybe a bigger crowd's what we need.
We just need to figure out what's going on. You
You
know?
said that 2% pay increase was $175,000, right?
It's roughly $175,000.
The doctor said 93.34 tax rate, it would cover everything in the budget, except give everybody 2% pay increase. What, I mean, Well, the 2% pay increase was voted down. And it's voted any 4%.
Commissioner Yergin, would you like to make a motion to, vote on a budget with a 2% pay
You
increase?
said there's only, $69,000 there, you're gonna save $175. Isn't that right?
That's the total savings, yeah. As we've got it here.
The budget as proposed is approximately 400,000
More than, the expenses are about 440, 400 and, well, I had that exact figure, about, what we think, $440,000. Okay, here's where here's where that money comes from. That comes from your undesignated fund balance. That's where it comes from. So instead of having it I have to look just to be sure on this. I think it was 5 million. Yeah. 5 million. It's 5.4, it goes down to like 5. Yeah, that's who needs to go. Fund balance.
You could make a motion that we approve the budget with a 2% raise unless they got income, right? But then, I don't know that that would pay.
It's on that page that we were talking about, where you approved those transfers. The page that I talked about, it had all the workers' comp on it. You see our estimated fund balance beginning July 1, and that's next year. It's $5,491,229. That's what you write checks out of. That is general fund balance, undesignated. Your rough average of monthly expenditures is in the neighborhood of $1.9 to $2.1 million monthly. That's what your monthly bills are. And that's what your monthly bills comes out of. So we think that's what the end balance will be beginning July 1. We're looking at those revenues, like I say, and expenses, and it looks like, based on the budget, they're going to be $444,850 shy. In other words, more expenses than revenues. Where does that money come from? That money comes from your estimated fund balance. We're not spending money that we don't have. We're spending money that we're keeping in reserve to pay bills. So that, as Keith pointed out, if we have a wrecked ambulance, it takes a while, and you'll see some of them in here. To recover those monies from the insurance company, we can go ahead and order an ambulance, and then we'll set the money in as it comes in. So that's the difference. So our estimated fund balance is what went down. It's not that you're spending money you don't have. It's just money that you're trying to keep a reserve there so you can keep paying your bills. State kind of wants you to have 3 months worth of bill paying ability in that fund balance. But this fund balance is not a bad fund balance. But that's what you want to try to do, is keep that fund balance up. So that's the actual difference. As we get it. Sure.
When we passed last year's budget, or the last 2 years, let's say, on paper, when we passed it, they would have both probably been a deficit budget, am I right?
I'm thinking they were. You should be here.
But yet somebody did a good job, the employees or somebody, because last year we added $700,000 to our general fund. We didn't do that by deficit spending, we did it by saving money, am I right?
That's right. True. And that's what I'm saying.
And the year before, we gained over $1 million.
Yeah. All of this is due to a couple of 3 things. That's like I said. Both the expenses and the revenues are these things right here. They're not right here where you can match one right on top of the other. It's just not that way. Secondly, is like you're talking about. Of all these budgets that you see here on this first page, those different departments, there were, and I gave you that number, and I don't remember what it is off the top of my head, but maybe only 10 of those departments that had any increases at all, period. Decimal point 00 was their increase from last year. Of the ones that did increase, some of those were that you would expect. Animals, medical drugs, those kind of things, they don't know what they're going to run, and those costs are increasing for them. So, and there wasn't that big of an increase. So you're right from that standpoint. These are figures that we look at and guess at and try to do, and let me tell you, these county officials work hard at keeping their budgets where they are. Very, very hard. Because they don't increase much. It's stuff that they have to do their job. And then secondly, we are very, very, and two more very conservative when we figure revenues. We want those revenues to be far greater than what we do. So that's.
Mr. Yergin?
I'm gonna make a motion to adopt certified tax rate with 2% pay increase for the employees. And if it looks like the first of January, we can do something more, we'll have a better idea 6 months in a year where we're at. Not the first of January. Our fund balance, we don't spend a lot of money between now and then.
Well, you don't collect a lot between now and then either.
I'm gonna make a motion to certified tax rate with 2% pay increase.
But we'll have to vote on the budget first, then go back to the certified tax rate.
Do it any way you want to.
Okay, the motion on the floor is for a budget that includes a 2% pay raise for employees. Motion made by Commissioner Yergin, do I hear a second? Seconded by Commissioner Steele. Any further discussion?
I'd like to discuss the tax rate when we get ready. We will talk about that again before we go forward now.
Let's get the vote on the floor taken care of, the motion on the floor for the budget of the 2% employee raise, and then we'll go into discussion with the tax rate again. Motion's been made and properly seconded. Again, this is for the budget of the 2% pay raise. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Sykes,
No.
Commissioner Barker,
No.
Commissioner Macklin,
No.
Commissioner James Longmire,
No.
Commissioner Shelton,
No.
Commissioner Stubbs,
No.
Commissioner Cameron,
Yes.
Commissioner Summers,
Yes.
Commissioner Wayne Morris,
Yes.
Commissioner Collins,
No.
Commissioner Smith,
No.
Commissioner Latham. Who's that?
Yes.
Commissioner Stone,
No.
Commissioner Steele,
Yes.
Commissioner Yergin,
Yes.
Commissioner Childers,
No.
Commissioner Moss. No.
Motion failed.
Can I ask? Sure. A couple questions. If we adopted the 93.34 rate, would that be an increase on the amount of money our citizens of our county would have to pay for taxes each year?
It would from the standpoint of your reappraisal. It is not from the standpoint of us raising tax rate. Does that make sense?
It would be an increase to our citizens.
It could be. Your point.
We need to
Yeah, it's supposed to be the same.
You know, we had talked about the 92.5 and the
That's not the survey.
92.5 is out, is that right?
That's not the survey.
All right, so if we pass the budget, we would have to be forced to take the 93.34, is that right? It would fit.
That would be your volunteer, I think it would work.
So is there any rate at all that's gonna work besides the 93.34?
Not unless you want,
That
you want another thing, for sure. That's what I say.
93.34 is it on the.
And again, this is the state's second try at guessing at what that amount of revenue, so I take it with a grain of salt, with all due respect to our friends in Nashville, but this is the second attempt for them to do that, so I would be.
The Commissioner, I was just asking, because I was a no vote on that also. Do we feel like the budget amount is too much? Does it need to be cut, or, I mean, did our budget committee, everybody worked on to come up with this budget?
Yeah, you're right.
I just wondered if we feel like it's overinflated, or we don't have enough commissioners here tonight to push it over?
That's what the problem is.
There's enough money, the money is there. The 93.34 will fund the budget, and it's the same tax rate as far as generate the same amount of money that the county got last year, this year. It's the same amount of money. Now, we generated whatever it is, I don't know, what, 5 million something, what's it?
$5,618,683.
The 93.34 is doing the same thing this year. The only difference is our taxes, like farmland, is going to escalate. They're going up. Your taxes may go down.
Yeah, got a decrease.
And part of y'all do understand how this certified tax rate changed, some don't you? It's when they went through and through their fields of some of those appraisals, it shoved it back down and messed it around that way. It went over. So that's how that went from 92 to 93.3 through some of the appeals of appraisal process. That's how that worked.
And again, if you look at our fund balances, in my opinion, if you go back and look at the last 3 years, how we've trended, and I've put a sheet in front of each one of you, I think, to look at that you can consider. We can work within the confines, we can work with the 94 cents. I'd be comfortable with the 94 cents.
That was
Big
my,
one, 93.3.
I don't know about that. I mean,
That's $50,000.
I don't know.
Butch, let's discuss something that, whoever's in these commissioner seats, mayor seat next year, gonna have to deal with.
sure.
And that's the general fund allocation of this tax rate we're talking about. We're gonna have, this year, we're moving money from debt service into the general fund to not have any more deficit than what we have. I understand next year that money needs to come out of debt, out of general fund back into debt service. And that's going about $200,000 ballpark. So if you go into a deficit budget this year, so many dollars with the recurring expense, you're gonna have $200,000 less dollars to work with next year
Well,
unless
no,
something
it'll come
gives.
back in next year. It will come back into debt service.
It goes back in debt service, but your general fund money's gonna be less, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, general fund maybe somewhat less,
Couple
depending on,
$100,000.
like I say, it's been fluctuating and trending up, so
Yeah.
it may not,
But the
yeah.
numbers we have today is 2.34 to 3% less revenue next year if everything stays the same for the general fund to fund a reoccurring budget.
It worked out, I hadn't worked on that, it could be, but no, part of that $100,000 that the highway department to get there, where they can still get their funding, but that comes out next
You
year.
know, we raised the highway department budget a penny, but still, to calculate this budget, we've increased the general fund, took money from debt service to the general fund, and next year, we said in the budget meetings, that money got to come back out of general fund, go back to debt service fund.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the one-time capital projects money that we moved out
Yeah.
of debt service?
Yeah, yeah.
So we're gonna have less money to work
We
with
did all of that,
next year.
that amount. We took out the capital projects.
I understand that.
Yeah, and that capital projects money is something we've never had anyway, and really it's just a measure to give the county commissioners more ability to decide
And
how the capital projects move forward.
And
Instead of borrowing, it gives us the opportunity to borrow money from
for
ourselves.
ourselves. which may or may not be used.
Yeah, but we're using it to balance the budget, the general fund.
Well, yes and no, depends on how you look,
Still
depends on how we
$400
spend money.
short.
Depends on how we're spending on our capital projects. I mean,
Didn't you say we need to spend big money on the courthouse?
well, we don't know. We're doing an engineering study and we're gonna find out, how much work's gonna have to be done on that and then how to fund it going forward. We're waiting on the engineering study.
Already what that fund balance will be come July 1/15, and you don't know. But we always, if we can look, all we can do is look back at our trend in the past. We've always been okay or a little better than what we're doing. And I don't know why, we like, it's a good point, if we're gonna be as good or close to it.
Well,
Why don't we go on?
I would agree with you.
Debt service, hey, if it comes out of debt service, we don't need debt service, what difference? Like, we still got $30.
Yeah, it'll go back in. But I would 100% agree with you, Coy. And maybe go one step further. We had a budget we all agreed on that was funded at that minimum rate, like we said, 9,334. It funded their nonprofits. And then when it comes time to say, okay, we've worked it, we know what it is, we know what the figures are, we know the minimum amount of 9,334. I would prefer personally, like I say, 94, but 9,334 will fund what you've got in front of you. Why are we here? Why are we here?
Because we're showing $400,000 shortfall.
No. We're gonna have $444,000 less in general fund, not shortfall.
Well, that's over me.
Well, it is. If you only had a fund balance of $444,000 and you spent that in this budget and you had goose egg in your account, I would agree with you, but it's not a shortfall from that standpoint.
Okay.
And that's a moving target. We're guessing.
You keep saying, well, I'm trying to set a rate for that next year we'll be higher.
Well, not necessarily.
Our fund balance will be better.
Not necessarily. It won't, even at that highest rate that I mentioned, what did I say it generated? Remember? 176,000. You take 176,000 from 444, that's not zero.
No, but you also said we figured our income.
Well, hey, we may end up, as the mayor pointed out, in that last page he's talking about, it's been trending up in about that amount of money, $400,000. So, in the next year, I can make the argument based on trends that, hey, we're wrong. The fund balance is gonna be $5,500,000, and there's no
Don't
$404,000.
assume anything's gonna be changed. It's gonna be just like you said right there on that paper. That's all we got to go by tonight.
Well, like I said, you've been here like I have, Keith, long enough to know that what this paper says and what comes out at the end of next year is not gonna be the same.
I understand, but what we got to go on is this right here. This is what we got to work on, right?
That's it. That's it.
Okay. We're gonna do some of your assuming that things are gonna be better than we thought. We're gonna assume if we cut out $200,000 of that budget, that's gonna be closer. And therefore,
175.
175, well, we're gonna get some money from our savings on our
It may be.
insurance.
And that's not included in there either.
That's not included in there.
That's right.
But if we could cut that $175,000, and then you assume that things are gonna be better, we'll be at a zero, goose egg, or better. And if we can stay where we're at or better, we're not going backwards.
Mayor kind of pointed out something that you may have forgotten.
I understood what he said.
Like I say, there's,
But if we don't have to have that money in debt service, and we put it back, our debt service is gonna grow. is it not?
We hope that's the case.
That's right.
That's right.
So that's money that's not being spent, it's either in the general fund or it's in our bank account.
But by the same token, like you say, that figure that you're showing as expense, it goes down too. So. But anyway, I'm agreeing with Coy. You know, it's any tax rate that we had would fit, would fund the budget that we had. And now it does not appear that you want to fund that budget or you don't like that budget, one of the two. And we're trying to figure out up here which one that is.
We've already put the budget up for discussion and it failed. So I don't see how we're gonna go forward from this point forward. It's already failed. And then another one's already come up about a reduction, it failed. I don't know how we're gonna get anywhere if we don't move on to it.
I think we've got some commissioners, and I may be wrong, correct me guys, but we've got some that are wanting a 2% raise, some wanting a 4% raise, and maybe some wanting 0% raise. I mean, am I hearing correctly? Is that the sticking point? Sure. Yeah.
Mine is.
Well, in the name
I
of
don't want to increase the burden on the citizens of the county. That's mine right there.
Like I said, that 93.34, that 94 would be 0.66 cent. That's it.
Trustees, Commissioners.
I have a statement to make. I would just like to tell the commissioners that I have been here a long time. And I came here when I was 20 years old. And every year, there was something that the employees did not get a raise. I'm not involved in that. I'm an elected official. So I know how hard my girls work. I know how hard Joyce's girls work, Chuck's people, everybody. They work hard. Now, I have one employee that is very close to minimum wage. And I'm not happy with that. And I'm not happy that we're not, you know, we're the ones that hold that bank account together and the 5 million and the fund and everything that we have. And also, I'd also like to add that because of a contract that we made, that I made with a certain bank in Humboldt, we have collected over $500,000 in interest, where we are collecting 1.75. Guaranteed, if it goes up, we go up. Now, I had a 4-year contract. I don't know if anybody knows that. You might want to come by and talk to me. For me to explain to you how this works, I will show you. I got paperwork everywhere. I mean, it's very important that you have employees that you show that you appreciate them. And I'm very upset that there are people that don't understand that. And like I say, I've been here 25, I've worked for the county for 25 years. I worked in banking for 5 years. I know what I'm talking about. I know how bad it hurts not to have what you need to feed your family. I'm going home with nothing. I'm 51 years old. I'm going home with nothing. But I'm okay with it because I was blessed to have a job. And I'm getting up. I mean, I didn't run this time because I have people in my office that I know, that I trust. If I'm sick, if I will die, if they're there, I'm okay. I have a bond. Never had to use, no problem. I trust these people. But minimum wage, it's kind of hard. Especially on a young family that has children.
we appreciate your input on that too. We talked about it at the budget workshops. I mean, we're losing, I'm just using the ambulance authority as, and Keith, you know this, we're losing paramedics and EMTs to counties that are smaller than us, next door to us, and operate the training facility for them, you wanna get right down to it. So it is a problem. If I'm hearing, if the sticking point is between a 2% and 4%, would somebody like to entertain a motion for a budget that includes a 3%, strike it in the middle?
I make a motion, we take a break, think about it.
Motion been made, second, let's take a 10-minute break.
Second.